Okay, Hilda, you're good.
Okay, well, welcome to the class today. We're going to be painting daisies. Can you see? And this is one version, and then this is the second version right here. And this is all done freehand. So I'll start the demo, and I'm going to go at a comfortable pace. And don't worry if you feel like you don't understand or you feel like you can't stay with the pace that I'm going. You can always look at the video again later and kind of catch up with the lesson. So it's not going to be hard at all. It'll be pretty easy, okay? So I'm going to move the camera up, and that way we can focus in on just where I'm going to be painting and demoing right here, like this. And this is where we're going to start. So I'm just using 3 colors, the basic primary colors. It's Perm Rose, Ultramarine Blue, and Cerulean Yellow. And with these colors, you've heard me before, some of you that have taken my class, you can make purples, you can make beautiful greens with these, and you can make beautiful oranges and apricot colors with these. So we'll, I'll demo and show you. And what I did is I just got a $1 plate at the dollar store, and I put the pink there, the blue, and the yellow there. And the brushes that I'm using are round brushes, size number 8 and 10, 6, and 4, and then a rigger brush. And then this little brush here I use as a scrubber to clean up some edges, you know, like I soften some edges, and that works really well for that. And then a pencil, and then watercolor paper. There's all kinds of brands, and the brand that I prefer is Arches, but this brand right here is Fluid, and it's not bad. It's, you know, I purchased this at Allard's. And then water, and let's begin. So what I want you to do is, you see how there's like 3 circles here? There's one here, sort of like a half kind of a circle, and then one here. So what I want you to do with your pencil is just take your pencil and gently just do a circle here at the top like this, and then one over here like this, and then one over here. And we're not going to worry about the ladybugs and the bees until the very end. So there's 3 circles here now. And if you wanted to, you could definitely go in here and start sketching out, you know, like the daisy petals like this. If this helps you, you know, more, you can definitely do this. See how I'm just doing this around the circle, and then I'm putting the center here. This one here, I want it to look like a half of the, like the flowers, you know, like the little flower head is here, and the petals will be this way over here like this. Can you see okay? And then
No,
this
Hilda, tilt, and hold on. Judy has a question really. Go ahead.
I can't see we can't see the painting, and we can't see your pencil marks. So
Yeah,
You
I
can't?
think because you're on a white paper, try tilting towards the camera.
but maybe if we could also see the painting, that would help.
Can you see this? Can you see it like that?
Yeah, see it better. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
So then, and then this here in the center will be the center of this flower here, like that. See that? So there's 3 circles. And then what I did is just kind of like made like little petals around those circles like this, just like that. Real simple. And again, see how that is? Okay. So now that you have this, you're just going to make a little line coming down like this, and like that. Oh, it's just like that. That's all you need. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start to make our paint. And we're going to first start out with some green, and we're going to take water in the middle of the plate, and we're going to mix a green with some yellow and some blue, more water. So when you use more water, the color is going to be light. It'll be a light color. When you use more pigment, your color will be darker in value. And so we're gonna mix some of that over here on this side. We're gonna have two greens. A darker green here, and your lighter greens are over here. See how much water there is there? Okay, so now this is the fun part. So now what you're gonna do is, the glare, you can't see it. I think you'll start to see once I start to paint. You're gonna paint around those petals just with the paint, just like this. And you can change the colors by adding a little bit of yellow on one side. So see how I'm just freehand forming just around those shapes? And look at the different greens that I'm putting around them. And now I'm adding a little bit darker blue there in that little area. And then I'm going to put a little bit of green here on this side too. Okay, and now just with the brush, watch how I do the stem. I'm just going down like this, just like that, just like that. Okay, so that's the first part. Real easy. Now, for the top part up here, I like to put blues. And so what you're going to do is just with your brush, just put water around the shapes like this. See how I'm just doing water, just water. Just keep it loose. And then just take some of that blue, that lighter blue, and just start dropping it in there, all around the flower shapes, like this. And then you can add maybe a touch of green here. You're just going around the flower shapes, like that. Okay, now you're going to mix your green even darker, so you're going to use more pigment to make it darker in value. So here it is, darker in value. And this is where you can start to drop in some leaves. So you can, and you can use your pencil if you wanted to. You can definitely sketch them out. You know, you can sketch leaves out here like this if you feel more comfortable, like this. But this is just for fun. And what I like to do is I just like to free form them and just kind of put some in different places. And so we'll just put one here on this side and just, you know, just kind of go like this with the shape there. And then the ones that you kind of draw, you can paint them in. Make them all sorts of shapes, and you can put different colors in there like that. So this is the first step. And then now I'm taking the darker green that I mixed, and I'm just dropping it under the petals to make them stand out a little bit. And see how I'm coming in to start defining those flowers now, the little flower petals. You can just go around and start dropping in colors. You know, you can change the petals if they look too round. Just go in a little bit and give it a different shape. Drop in some different colors on this leaf. Maybe put one over here. I'm just free-forming this one over here like that. That's the fun of it. And then later when this dries, we're going to drop in some beautiful purples. So now that you've done the background like this, very loose, what you're going to do is you can switch over to a smaller brush because we're going to do the centers of the flowers. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can go back and watch the video and do some of the areas. So now I'm going to take some yellow and some of the pink to make like an orange color. And orange and blue make a brown color. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and drop it over here, and it'll make like a little brown color. See this? Turn brown. So now what I'm going to do is the first layer of the bud here is pretty, the center is pretty light. And this one's facing out, so I'm just doing this. See how easy it is with the brush? You just kind of just go around and don't make it perfect. You know, just be loose. And that's it. So I just want you to do that and just leave that alone, just like that. Because later what you're going to do is you're going to start making those browns darker in value, and you're going to start dropping them in and leave some of the light colors. So some of the light colors are peeking out here, and these are the darker, richer colors to give it contrast against the petals there. So that's pretty easy there. And then later what you'll do is you'll make your colors darker. So here's an example to show you really quick. So now I have more pigment, and when you start to drop the pigment, see the value starts to change. You start to change the, and then we're going to let this dry a little bit so that way it can dry, and then when these colors start popping in there, we can make them look better. Okay, so now what I want to show you, we're going to let some of this dry here. Now what I want to show you is the petals right here, the inside. We don't want to lose a lot of the white, but what we want to do is just mix a light coral color for the inside. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix a little bit of the pink with the yellow. So I'm taking yellow and I'm taking a little bit of the pink, and I'm making like a coral color here. Or you can just take yellow and just use yellow. This is still a little wet, so I'm going to work here. So my first layers are always very light, so more water, and just like this is what I'm doing. I'm just using the brush. See how I'm using the side of the brush? Just like that, just a little bit. Don't want to be perfect, just kind of let it kind of be loose. And then this one here, because you're going to build these up. You're going to build up these beautiful petals with different values and different colors, just like that. More water here, just like this. And while it's wet, you can take a different color and you can drop it in there while it's wet. And see what happens, the colors start to bleed out and they're just really pretty. Or you can just take yellow and add a little bit more yellow in some of them, and look at how they start to pop, the colors. You can see how the colors are changing, and you know, you can always turn your paper around, starting here. I'm just doing these as little demos here, so that way you can see. I'm just going to blend them out. Just have fun with this. Maybe make one a little bit more red, you know, maybe add a little bit of red in here. You know, just see how that one has a little bit more red up here at the top. Maybe this one's going to be more of the dominant one here, and these not so much. So let's let those dry a little bit, and then you can see how the centers are drying. And so then when you mix your dark color, or you could even put in dark purple in there, you know, you can mix blue and the pink here and make a beautiful dark deep purple. And this is beautiful. Look at this. Look at how you can just put little dots in there. And we're gonna make those softer. When the paper starts to dry, it will start getting little hard edges, but I'm not gonna worry about those right now. So you can just add a little bit of water to soften some of those edges. Just like that. So see the variety, how it you know, it starts to change the colors. This one's gonna be more my dominant one up here at the top. So I'm gonna add a little bit more darker colors and see, you can see what's happening now. This one, I'm gonna just blend it out just like that. Just soften those hard edges like that. So see what's happening, okay? So now I'm gonna show you how, and we're still gonna build these up right here. So don't worry about that. What I think I would like to show you is how to do a ladybug and a bee, and that way you can decide where you want to put your ladybug and where you want to put a bee. And what I like to do is have a piece of scratch paper. This is one that I did earlier just for practice. And this is like just really loose and really fun, and the bee, and I was, you know, practicing how to do the ladybugs. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're gonna just cut this piece of paper here, and let's just cut this and show you how you're gonna make a ladybug. And I'm gonna use a size 6. So just with the pink color, you're gonna make a line like this, and then a little hump like that. So line and a little hump like this, just a little hump. Line and a little hump. That's the body of the ladybug. Then what you're going to do is you're going to mix a dark color, and you're going to let that dry a little bit, because if you try to put the head while it's still wet, the color is going to bleed into the body. Do you see that, how that's bleeding? And so you kind of want to wait when it's dry, so that way you can just put the little head on there, and then you can put little spots on there, little feet, you know, and that's how you make a ladybug. And so what you want to do then is you would think about where you're going to put it, and I'll just put one right here on this stem here. So I'm putting a little line, and then I'm making a little hump, just like that, just real simple. And then later, you know, when some of this area dries, you can maybe add another one, but let's just make one for now. And then I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I put the little head and the little feet. So now for the bee, you're going to take your yellow, and the bee is like think of a bee as making it like a little C shape. So just like this, like a little C shape. I'll add a little bit of color so that way you can see better. So it's just like this, like a little C shape, and then just come in, just like that. See that? It looks like a little banana actually, but a little C, and then like that. That's the body. And then you're going to let this dry, and you're going to use the same dark color for the head right there, which will be just like this, just a little head, and then you can add little antennas. You can add little feet like this, little zigzags, just, you know, little zigzags, or you can take your rigger brush and you can add little feet like this, just little squiggly little head there. And then you'll use a dark color also for the little stripes. And then the wings, you'll switch over to a different round brush, and you'll use a light purple. And this is how you'll do the wings, just like that. Press and lift, press and lift. Let's do a darker color so that you can see. Press and lift, and look at how I'm turning the brush this way. Press and lift. And then when these dry, you can take your little rigger brush, and if you want, you can add little details on the wings. You can add all these little fun details on the wings that you see. But let's keep it simple. And so I want to put one up here. So now I'm gonna paint one, and I'm gonna use my size 8 round brush, and I'm gonna use a very light pale yellow color. So it's loaded, and thinking of that C shape, and here it is. So we're gonna make the bee this way, just like that. So here it is. Here's my little C shape, sort of. And then I'm gonna let that dry. Just leave that alone and let it dry. Now this has dried. So now I'm gonna add the little head to the ladybug. And I'm gonna make a dark color with blue and pink. Dark purple color. And I'm just gonna add a little round head here. And now that that has dried, you can add little spots there too. Maybe in little antennas or little feet. Just keep it simple. And the bee, I'm not gonna worry about yet because it still has paint that's a little wet. But these are starting to dry. And I see this beautiful rich color here and I'm thinking, wow, let's add a little bit more details here just to let you see how beautiful the contrast will start to develop when you start adding different little shades of color. And then you can add a little bit of water to soften some of those, you know, keep it loose, keep it watercolor. It's fun. And then this little area here will have a darker value so that this little flower bud head can pop out. So see how these are developing and this one's not? This was contrast here and this one can definitely have more contrast with just darker shades of color. And this one here, you can just do this, you know, just add darker colors. And again, water, soften those hard edges and just keep it loose. And so now what I'm going to do, now that the greens have kind of dried around the flowers, we're going to go back in here and start working in here again. And then after that dries a little bit, we're going to go back into the daisies on the inside and start working those petals, you know, these beautiful details. You know, we're going to worry about these details in a while. And look at the bee. The bee is, you know, it's got the darker stripes and then I added little details on the wings too. So let's go back in here now and start using our greens to build up more values and more leaves. And so I'm going to start using more greens in here now. And I'm going to keep it very loose. I want it to be very loose. See how it's all loose and kind of blended out softly? That's what I want to do with this here. Right now it has all these hard edges and, you know, we don't want that. We want it to kind of like just blend out and be soft. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm using my number size 10 round brush and I'm going to just take water, and this is just fun. Okay. This is, you know, I'm just doing the water like this. Look at how I'm working around that little ladybug. Just keep it loose. I mean, you could even do this. Don't be afraid. It's an art lesson. It's not a masterpiece. You know, we're just here to have fun and kill some time and learn something new about watercolor. Of course, there's all kinds of different ways in painting in watercolors, and this is just one way. And I kind of like it because it's just fun. And notice how I'm taking my brush and look at how I'm just being very loose with it. See how I'm just being very loose with it? Just like that. And now that I have it like this, you know, you can move it around. You can let those colors bleed around. And I like this, you know, it's starting to look better. You know, I actually like that. And I'm just going to do a little bit of splattering like that. So now what I want to do is I want to start building up some dark, rich colors around the bottom here. And just like I did here, because I want these flowers to kind of pop out, you know, I want them to pop out. So I'm going to clean this here and I'm going to start mixing some purples. And I'm going to mix the colors first. I'm going to use water in the middle. I'm taking this beautiful pink primrose color, cleaning it, taking some blue over here, mixing it there. Look at that beautiful purple there. Wow, I love that. And of course, if you use less water and more pigment, you're going to make a really dark, rich purple here. I'm not afraid to use paint. Don't, make sure that you use plenty of paint. You can't be using just a little bit of paint. Use enough paint, because this is a very loose, painterly style watercolor painting. It's not something that's very realistic and very tight. And I actually like what happened to the ladybug. It kind of softened the edge there. You can see how it just kind of softened it up. And if you do get lots of water like this here, you can take a paper towel and you can drink the excess water like this with the paper towel, just like that if it's too much. And now we're going to add some purple values in there. And I'm going to use my size 8 brush. Watch how I'm doing this, because now I'm going to start developing some of those fun edges around those petals, and you'll see. So it's still a little wet because I put water in there, and that's what we want. We want these colors to kind of move around a little bit. And so with the point of the brush, I'm just doing this. I'm moving it around those little flower edges. Can you see that? Look how cool this is. And look at how it's bleeding out. Okay, there. I'm turning it around. I'm going to come in here and just do a little bit, just with the point, very gently, just like that. And I'm going to come over here on this side, on this one, this petal. I'm going to break that little petal edge like that. I really like that. And over here, we're going to connect a little bit there. I'm breaking that shape, that petal shape. Coming in, look at how I'm using, notice how much paint I'm already using. It goes fast. And then the point, again, I'm breaking that little edge there, just like that. I don't want to go too much out here because I want to keep the center of focal area right in here in this area, right here. And if your paint starts to dry a little bit, just get the, I clean the brush, and when it's damp, and just take the edge and just drag it along. See how it softens those hard edges? Now watch again, it's just a damp brush, and I'm just using the edge and softening that edge there like this. Like that. Like that. I really like that. So now what I want to do is I want to start adding darker greens in here too, and I think that's going to be really nice. And then what we're going to do up here is add a little bit of blue to start bringing that shape out. So here's some of the blue, and just very lightly I'm going to take some of this blue and work around this flower bud head right here. And let's just add a little bit over here too. Remember those hard edges? Just wet your brush and just soften those hard edges like this. It's a damp brush, and all you're doing is just softening them out. And let's just add a little bit of splatter up here too, just to tie in these purple colors. And now I feel like I need to add a little bit darker color of purple in here because I want this to still be the focal area in here. So I'm coming back in here with a darker, even richer color while it's still wet. See how it's popping the contrast, the dark value against the white of the flower there? Just like that. Because I want this to be the focal area. So let's go back to the bee. So now with the bee dry, what you're going to do is you can add a little bit of your dark little shadow lines or little stripes. They're called stripes. And I'm just going to mix a dark purple with a smaller brush, because you definitely need to have a smaller brush to make these little bee stripes, just like that. And let's just add the head here, like this. Remember, this is just a fun, loose style painting. It's not a realistic sort of painting. It's just fun kind of a thing. And this is how I'm just going to make the feet, just like that. And then the wings, I'm switching over to a size 8. And I'm going to use a very light, kind of purplish color. And my brushes. And this is how we're going to make the wings, this way and that way. So press and lift. Press and, oops, and lift up. And then those will dry a little bit. We'll just let them dry. And then when this dries, what I do is I can add a little glaze of orange on top of there. And then I'll add the little vein details in there when it dries. So I'm really happy the way it's all looking. It's very loose. And so now at this point, what you can do is you can start to develop more leaves in here and darker shades of greens. And you can add more foliage down here at the bottom. And then we're going to work a little bit more with the flower petals. So let's go and switch back to green over here. So now I'm going to mix green. Oops. Just don't want. I need more blue. So. More pigment will make the greens darker. So I like these 2 shades of green here. They're beautiful. But I'm going to start with the dark. So now what you can do is you can start to add more leaves in here, or go over some of these existing ones that you see here. Or if you feel like you need to add a little bit more, you know, you can. You know, like I see something here, and this one here looks like a leaf. So what you can do is you can just take this color and start to make this like a leaf there. This one here, you can come in here and add more green. Let's change up the green and add it in here, a different green. Let's just add like little greenery in here, just to change it up. And then those hard edges, just soften them. We're going to add a little bit more of this green in there. And in here, let's just change it there. And so, do you see how it's really like coming together with all different kinds of greens in here? And just fun, just keep it loose. There's an imaginary leaf there. Okay, this leaf here. while it's still wet, you can add this leaf here. If you want it to come forward, you can just add a little bit darker green underneath it. If you want to add more foliage down here at the bottom, you can take your little rigger brush, this one here, like this, and I'm loading it. And I'm starting from the bottom now, and I'm just going to go like this. Not too much, just a little bit. Maybe make some of this come out. And then what you can do is just like that. Maybe one this way. And what you can do is you can take one of your other smaller brushes and you can start to do this sort of thing. It'll add little extra foliage. Foliage there. Maybe when this dries here, you can add a little bit more in there. It's still a little wet, but this is just the fun details that I really enjoyed doing at the end. It just kind of, it's just the fun things. You know, just look, you can just move your brush around like this and make little extra foliage just to kind of fill up the background a little bit. And, you know, I'm liking this like this. You know, it's very loose, and paper's kind of buckling a little bit because it's not taped down on a board, but this is what happens sometimes. And so the bee has dried, and now you can go in there and take a rigger, and you can start adding little bee details on its wings. This. Just keep it simple, or you can follow a pattern. So just like that. And then you can add a little bit of orange to the top of the bee, or more yellow for it to pop, you know, to stand out a little bit more. And let's just add a little bit yellow on the top here. Just like that. See the bee there? And since I have yellow on my brush, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding a little bit of more detail on the inside of these flower petals here. So I'm going to switch it over like this, and I'm going to start to develop this one here. And I'm just kind of, look at how I'm just using the side of the brush. This is glazing on top of a paint that has already dried. And notice, look at how beautiful. I mean, I just love that. That's all you need to do. So let's take more, and let's just add a little bit more on this one here and this one here. And let's just change it. I'm going to add a touch of pink to the yellow to give it a little orangey color. And I'm just doing a little bit of glazing. So just like this, look, you can just do this sort of thing. Just keep it loose, keep it fun. Look at how I'm using the brush. I'm just kind of doing this sort of thing. Then you can take it and add little details like that if you want. That's always the end. You can see that on this one here, I did that, you know, with the brush. I added little details. So this one actually has like 3 layers. So I started out with a very pale yellow, a pale orange, and then I went a little bit deeper in this one. And I wanted this one to be the focal area, so I added more darker contrast in this flower and less on these, because I wanted this to be the focal area here. And let's go to this one over here. I need to do this one here. like that. Oops, that's too dark. Oh, wow. And I'm not worried about these pencil lines that are in there, because later when the painting dries, you can take a kneaded eraser and you can erase all those pencil lines. But I really like how the watercolor softened this ladybug here. It really just softened it up a little bit. So you can see, look at the variety of colors inside the petals here. This one's darker and more rich, and this one's more the secondary one. This one's, you know, like lighter. So this one needs a little bit of help. So we're gonna just add a little shade of yellow glazing to that one too. And I took my brush and I'm just using the side of the brush, and I'm just dropping in the color like this. See how I'm just wiggling that brush? Look, just like that. I'm not doing this sort of thing. I'm just like that. And while it's still wet, if you wanted to, you can mix a different color and you can drop it in there and see how it just kind of bleeds out. You can do that to change the values of those colors. And now what I want to do is I really want to build this one up a little bit more richer. And so by doing that, I need to put some dark colors up here at the top, so that way it can not be in the same values as the background here. So I'm going to mix purple, again, taking blue and that red color, a really deep purple. And while I have it, I can also deepen the lines and the little bee also here. So I'm going to make this a little bit richer looking. Needed to be something to the stinger there, like that. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm leaving some of those other values underneath there because I like them the way they look. But you can see how much richer this is looking. So I hope that you're able to keep up with me. And if not, you can always look back at the video and just give this another try, because look how simple this was. I mean, it's just a very loose style painting. I'm going to add a little bit more in here. I wanted to do something very easy and simple for the online lesson, because I wasn't able to go around and help each individual. So I hope that this is not something too hard, and that it was enjoyable for you to see, and to see the process of how a painting can be developed. And now I'm just going to soften some of these colors out. And you know, I can keep playing with this in here. Like if I want, I can bring this leaf forward by putting in darker greens in here. It's still a little damp, still a little wet there, but overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm going to soften some of these little hard edges now, just by adding a little bit more water there. I'm just dropping water. And what you can do later is come in here and do more detail after it starts to dry. You can go in here and start to start doing these little edges around some of these petals here if you wanted to make them more interesting. Anyway, this is one way of painting, and of course there's many ways of painting in watercolors, and this is one of the best ways that I find fun, just to kind of loosen up and have fun. And you know, later when these dry a little bit more, you can take your rigger brush and you can add more details on the inside of your flowers like this. You can just do little, you know, you don't have to, but this is just one way of adding a little bit more. And if you don't like the hard edges too much, just take a damp brush and soften a little bit with the brush. See how I'm softening those edges? Because where you have hard edges, people will go there. They'll look where the hard edges are. And since this is my focal area, I will develop this a little bit more. I'll start adding these sort of things, and just to make it more interesting. See how I'm using the brush and I'm just keeping it very loose. And now I'm going to loosen up those edges with a little bit of water, but I'm keeping some of those the colors underneath, just like that. Just like that. And then I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit more color, more this leaf here. If you put another layer of green underneath it, you can start to see it showing up a little bit more. And you can add a little bit more foliage in here. Let's just do that. Just a little bit more here. We're filling in this little area here, I think. So, what do you all think? And this is here's a mat. If you take a mat, you can, you know, just put it around your painting to see what it's going to look like. So here's an example of what it would look like. Of course, it always looks better from a distance because we're always just working right on top of our painting. But this is just a very loose, look at the difference from this painting and that one. This one is very different. And of course, this one also was done with darker greens. And I think what I did on this one here is I added more of the pink into the greens, and it made it really dark. And notice how I put ladybugs in there and put another bee over here on this side. And I just kept it very loose again. But it's, you know, it's just a very doable kind of a art lesson, and I hope that you enjoyed it. You can continue to take your rigger brush and, you know, add more details on the leaves like this. You can, you know, when they dry, you can see the little details a little bit better. Or you can use this color here. Why not? I mean, you don't have to use green. You can always just use this color on the leaves to make it more interesting and to kind of give it harmony so that the colors all tie in a little bit better. So let's just add that here to this one here. So you could do this. You don't always have to use just green. And you could even add a little glaze of this color on top of the leaf. You know, if you wanted to, you could just add a little glaze, just a little color. Let's just add it here. Glaze. And if you have too many hard edges, maybe, or an edge where you don't like it, I have this little flat brush. It's a size 8. And what I do with this brush here is, I'll show you. I just wet it first and kind of get the little excess water off. But what I enjoyed using this brush for is just like cleaning up some edges, like maybe this edge here. I want to soften it. And see how I'm blending that edge out. So now that's softer there. These edges I like because I want the viewer to look here. So this is like the focal area here. So I'm going to keep those. This little edge here, I'm going to just soften it a little bit, and I'm gently blending. I'm not blending, I'm not scrubbing. I'm just kind of softening. This is a little hard edge here that I don't like. So I'm just softening out and blending out, just real gentle with the brush. And maybe this one here, this little part of this leaf, you know, just soften that a little bit. I think that was too dark in there. My eye was going there, so I'm just softening that up because I want my eye to keep going up here at the top. And what I want to do to that bee is I think I want to add a little bit of orange because I think it needs it. It needs a little bit of orange up there. So here's the orange. Just like that. And we can keep adding. So you can see with these three colors, how many different colors you can mix. It's amazing. The colors that you can mix. And here's a little bit more detail on this one with more pigment on the brush, and this is more like dry brushing. Softening those hard edges just like that. But this one's different now compared to the other ones. And we can keep adding darker shades in here. I'm gonna not work on that one too much because this one's not important to me. It's more this little area here that I'm liking. And I think I'm gonna soften this edge over here. Just like this. See how the edges are getting, you can just blend them. Let's see. A bit more. So it's really just building up. You know, you're always building up little layers of let's see, another little leaf there. Oh, I don't like that. So I'm just gonna do away with it. And then how I sign my paintings is I use a little rigger brush like this, and I take one of these colors that I like, and I kind of make a decision where I'm going to put the signature, if I'm going to put it up here or down here. And usually I put it down here or right here. But what you never want to do is you never want to put it too close to the bottom or to the edge. And then this is how I sign my painting. I'll just use, let's just use some of this green here so that it can look part of the foliage. And I practice sometimes on a piece of paper first. You know, you can take this and pretend like this is a pen and hold it like a pen and just kind of practice signing your name. And then what I'll do is I'll take this color here, and I think that I'm going to add it right here, right here. So this is the lesson for daisies. Just like that. And if you wanted to, you can take more of your paint that you have left over on your palette here. Let's just have a little bit of more fun here. Just take this color here, and you can just you know, just a little bit there and maybe there. And that's it. So what do y'all think? I hope that you enjoyed the lesson.
I'm going to go ahead and unmute anyone. Does anybody have any questions for Hilda? As I know as you guys were all working. Does anyone have questions?
No, I have no questions. I'll probably watch the video again. When will that be back?
I'm going to try and post it tonight.
Oh.
And then if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'm going to stop the recording.